Hi there! You're invited to listen to an exclusive excerpt from the next episode that I'll be publishing on Sunday. My next guest is absolutely fascinating, and this is just a teaser of what you can expect from our discussion. Enjoy listening, and I'll see you on Sunday for the full episode.
Welcome to Finscale, a podcast created by Solène Niederkorn, shedding light on innovation in finance, banking, and insurance.
From scaling in payments to IPOs, Josh Kaplan, partner at Wilson Sonsini.
So the main issue we were facing was, frankly, how to do that at a very high cadence. And
yes, because it went very, very fast. That's what strikes me with checkout.
Yes.
Is the rapidity.
Yes, that was intentional. Once you had that technology stack in place, you had this opportunity to very quickly scale it. And so the question was, what would be the best way to organize my function to scale at a high cadence?
A conversation that covers many topics, from scaling a business in payments to Twitter and the timing of IPOs. In this episode, I speak to Josh, a banking lawyer who worked at the US Federal Reserve, Deutsche Bank, Crédit Agricole, and Bank of America before joining the FinTech world at Checkout.com, the payment processing company. Josh takes us through the macro and micro steps Checkout.com took to prepare for their international expansion when he was COO. He uses Saudi Arabia as an example, providing insight into how the team was assembled, core functions established, and the local teams deployed. We look at the benefits of deploying from Europe, where a standard of excellence is established in the key areas of anti-money laundering and data protection. We learn that data has always been key to their scaling and get a first-hand look at how it's processed to be very efficient at resolving bottlenecks very fast. We also dive into their regulatory strategy for expanding outside of Europe. Josh joined Wilson Sonsini, a tech-focused US law firm, a few years ago, and we learned about their relationships with big tech companies like Netflix and Apple. Discovering a startup history from its formation as a legal entity to more complex litigation cases is a special treat. You'll also learn about the key roles that these top-notch advisors play. If you want the inside scoop on IPOs, we pinpoint the exact timing required to make it a success. Enjoy listening! Hi, everyone. Hi, Josh.
Hi, Solène.
Good to meet you in Luxembourg.
Good to see you.
Before your flight, so we have 35 minutes because you need to take a flight in 35 minutes, more or less.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you please first present yourself to the audience?
So I'm Josh Kaplan. I'm a partner at Wilson Sonsini in the corporate practice. I'm part of leading the FinTech practice within Wilson Sonsini, working with FinTechs across Europe and, frankly, across the world.
And prior to that, you were?
And prior to that,
an operator.
I was an operator. So we've sort of differentiated our practice by having an operator in the practice group. So I was the chief operating officer of a fintech called Checkout.com, which went from being a relatively small fintech at the time I joined to being a global fintech with over 1,000 employees.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I must admit to the audience that I already invited you 18 months ago, or 1 year ago in Paris. I don't know if you remember. During a party, you were talking about the expansion of Checkout when you were COO. Right. I found it very, very interesting, and I said to myself, I absolutely need to have Josh on my podcast to discuss this and many other things. This is something I wanted that you explain to us before we deep dive into Wilson Sonsini and the way your law firm is supporting its clients. I wanted to do a sort of brain-picking session with you, and that we understand through this testimony, the way you as CEO perform the expansion of such an amazing fintech that is Checkout across 5 continents, if I'm correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Can you please explain to us, when you joined Checkout, what were the main issues that you were facing as a CEO of a payment company? Let's start with that.
So at the time I joined, the company had been around for a little while, but it had just completed its tech development such that it had a sort of full stack solution, meaning that the company controlled and owned each part of the value chain. So the gateway, which is sort of the front end, it was a principal member of Visa and MasterCard, which meant that it had a direct membership with the card networks, and then the back end, which was the technical connectivity with the card networks. The opportunity, as I saw it, was to create a global platform that would allow global e-commerce merchants to have a single technical integration with the platform, and ultimately a single legal integration with the platform, meaning that there was a single merchant services agreement. So the opportunity was to build out that global platform. And given that at that point in the company's history, they had completed the tech stack, it was the right moment to do that, because expanding it into these 4 other continents was simply a matter of establishing a legal entity, getting the appropriate license, regulatory license, and establishing the membership in the local scheme. But otherwise, you could leverage this single tech stack in each of those markets, because Visa and MasterCard are the same. It's the same technology regardless of which market you're in. So the main issue we were facing was, frankly, how to do that at a very high cadence. And
yes, because it went very, very fast. That's what strikes me with checkout.
Yes,
is the rapidity.
Yes, that was intentional. Once you had that technology stack in place, you had this opportunity to very quickly scale it. And so the question was, what would be the best way to organize my function to scale at a high cadence? So I was very deliberate about thinking about which teams needed to be part of the COO function. And it ended up being legal, risk, operations, of course, compliance, and financial partnerships, which was the small team that managed the relationship with the payment methods.
Now that you've heard an excerpt from the upcoming episode on Sunday, make sure you stay tuned and connected so you don't miss a beat.